Alrighty guys, so in a couple of hours time, well very soon I want to say, globally, we'll get the first boss raid available. So obviously right now in certain servers the raid is here already available, as you guys can see. 3 out of 3 attempts of course, but first things first, we're gonna just dive straight into it. I don't want to waste anyone's time, and that is if you head over to the exchange shop that the raid will have to offer for global. It did get slightly nerfed, unfortunately, on the global side of things. So obviously with the SSR mage, beforehand we had 2, being JP and KR, and we thought going forward that was going to be the case on global, but yeah, it seems that they are turning down that, so you can only get 1. So realistically, the key focus on what you want to purchase from the shop is of course the SSR dupe, that's a given. Obviously staminas are going to be also very crucial for a lot of people. And then when it comes to the skill fragments, basically you want to work backwards. So rather than going for the Shard of Will, you want to start from the Crystal of Will, which is the purple material, which will help later on level up your skills. So if you want to level up your skills to like level 3, 4, 5, of course. So because of course they are pretty difficult to come by, and you do get less of these. So you want to, once you get to the skill or to the will part of it, then obviously you want to start with this one, then move over to this one, and then that will be last. But dupe is going to be first. If you're really needing the stamina, then stamina is going to be there. It's at a daily reset. The ones with timers are going to be daily resetted, as you guys can see. These are going to be a one-off. Now, huge shout out to Guitar Rock. I'll leave his channel down below if you guys do want to check it out. But of course, he went diving on in to see what this boss was about. Now, of course, once you defeat a certain part, so for example, if you manage to defeat part 6, you can quick battle it and then it'll auto complete all 3 runs. Now, the raid is out for 6 days. It's out for 6 days, and as you guys can see with each stage, it does give you reward. Obviously there's a first time reward going forward, and then after that, once the first time is over, you'll then get a set amount given to you. Now I'm just gonna get this out of the way and just let you guys know, you have to complete part 4. You have to. So like I said, the raid is out for 6 days when it drops globally for everyone on all servers, right? So on part 3, as you guys can see, you got 11 to 13, right? And then if we go over to part 4, 30 to 34 is, so minimum you're getting 30 at the very least if you complete it. Exclude the first time, exclude. So doing the maths, so let's do 30 times 3, so you get 90 every day. So you times that by 6, 540. Now keep in mind, you're not only just going to be getting the piece itself, but there's going to be other stuff you're going to be buying. But at the very least, that is pretty much what you're going to need to be doing. Because unfortunately, with part 3, you're not going to be getting near. So if I do that and then times 6, yeah, you have to do part 4. Here's the thing: if you can't do part 4, don't worry, your coins will stay on till when the raid comes back. Alright, so it's not the end of the world. But the problem is that you're going to be missing out on that SSR dupe. So for the free-to-play peeps, this is going to be a pain. I'm not going to cap. This is going to be an absolute pain. But this is the situation that we're in right now, okay? So that's kind of how that's working. So when it comes to the boss raid for global, of course the first typing will be a blue typing, and then the second phase will be a red typing. Now with the first phase, it's going to be a lot more harder than the second phase. The second phase you basically have to nuke just to get it out of the way. The first phase, there's going to be a lot to him where he can incapacitate, he can reduce your speed, disarm you, so of course make you do less damage. Right there, as you saw, just got stunned. That is AoE stunning, so that's going to be super annoying. But there are key ways to actually combat stage 1, and then of course when it comes to stage 2, you're essentially just going full on the offensive and just full on nuking, because unfortunately on phase 2 he does an insane amount of damage, and when he does his ultimate will always crit. So it's difficult to say that you can withstand it. So with all that being said, I know many of us are not going to be in that beautiful position. Well, to be honest, I've got some strong characters. So this is why a lot of people are now probably trying to go for Raya, or why people are very happy that they went for Raya, is because of course he's going to be beautiful to have for this raid. Of course, basically the way I'm looking at it is Raya is going to be my phase 1 attacker, and then Yami is going to be my phase 2 attacker. That's pretty much how I'm going to be settling things. Now, obviously going about teams and whatnot, how are we going to be combating this? Now again, look at my account, I'm very limited, there's only so much I can work with. So the way I'm going to be doing things is I highly recommend you put Lotus in the first phase, because Lotus with the speed down, you can actually get turns off. If you have the speed reduction on the enemy, if you see that debuff being applied, you then use the second skill to extend it, and what will happen at that point is you can actually overtake the first raid boss maybe a turn or two to get extra hits in. So Lotus, in my opinion, is a must. If you have Mars, take Mars. He will actually help you tremendously with, of course, well, tanking, taunting, and obviously being able to nullify some of the debuffs that the enemy can apply. So that's going to be a picture perfect character if you do have him, of course. But Lotus, I'm sure everyone has. Please take him in turn 1. Obviously, in the case of having your main attacker, it doesn't have to be Raya. It can be Frugolion. If you need to, you can, if you want, put Yami in here, because of course the second phase is a red typing, so if you have Asta, you can rely on Asta to do the damage. So Yami is also optional, but for me it's going to be Raya. Obviously Finral over Valtos due to the fact that he can apply speed buff, as well as I think, isn't it crit and attack buff, I'm pretty sure. But overall he's just a very good speed and attacking buffer. But let me just double check. I'm pretty sure we do get crit buffs here. So increased damage dealt and increased attack. Okay, maybe I was reading it wrong. Oh no, it is, yeah. So it's on the ultimate. So yeah, Finral is going to be a picture perfect character. Now that last slot, Charlotte, beautiful character to have, especially with all the debuff that she can apply. It will speed up the process to allow you to do more damage, of course. So this is essentially a picture perfect team. Pretty much just have your attacker slot in right there. So if you have Asta, put Asta in there. If you've got Yami, put Yami in there. But you've got to be very cautious to think about on who you have on turn, for phase 2, of course. Obviously, I'm not taking any healer because I'm heavily relying on Lotus to slow the enemy down. That's the key thing. So if you want to save a healer for phase 2, you can do so. But I mean, if I wanted to bring in Mimosa, I'll probably take out Charlotte. So that way I've got my healer, and then obviously we'll resort back to getting that main attacker. You kind of throw in this Juno if you want to. I mean, yeah, he's not too bad, but in the higher up stages, you know, it really depends on how difficult it can be. Nebra is also a decent debuffer that you guys can rely on if you guys do want to use her. I mean, it just really depends if you want to put the resource into her, of course. So obviously reduce magic attack right there, defense drop, which is pretty nice, and then I mean, just practical damage, to be honest. Summon 2 clones to deal damage equal to 35% of the attack and magic attack to and upon enemy using missed bullets. So I mean, it's a decent debuffing attacking green character that is usable, definitely. But I think with where I'm at right now, I think I'm comfortable with what I've got to work with. So that's just brief little talk on phase 1. Phase 2, you gotta go in with the big gun. So like, for example, as I've just mentioned what I'm going to be doing for phase 1, phase 2, I'm telling you, I'm bringing in the heavy guns. This is my tank. I mean, I might switch out the tank just for Mimosa, and then that last slot, oh, if only I had Sally. Basically a nuking setup character would have been beautiful here. Finral would have been lovely here, which I could still take, but then it kind of ruins my team 1. So this is kind of like the dilemma I'm in. I mean, I could put Charlotte. I mean, Charlotte and Asta together is a very nice combination. So like, this is pretty optimal too. This is pretty much going to be the case. You just want to have your nukers on hand, and then obviously supporters right there. So I mean, Mimosa would be nice. She'll tank. She can heal up the boys to keep them going that a little bit longer. And then of course that final slot, realistically, you really want a damage boosting character. You have Sally. She's an amazing support for the nuking tactic, so on the second stage. Frugolion is spot on for the first stage if you need that green attacker. Jack is an amazing setup nuking character for the second phase. So if you have Jack, make good use of him, of course. Real is not bad of a character to have on the first stage if you want to use him for incapacitate, so that's pretty decent. Radis is a beautiful character for stage 1, so you can make good use of him, of course. Lich, again, yeah, I mean, he fits extremely well with Raya. I mean, if you want to throw him in to the first stage, that's also optional, of course. So that's kind of how things are working. If we're going to SRs, Nebra, yep, she's usable. I mean, you can also use Charmy. Again, she's going to be a nice healer to have. Gosh, I didn't really talk about this character, but if he has buffs on him, he gets extra attack. This is a character not to be slept on. If you've been working on this man, please make good use of him, because if a buff is present on this character, he does perform extra attacks on all of his attacks. So for the second stage, an amazing blue attacker that will probably get the job done with the extra attack that he can apply. So that's a character not to be slept on. So Nebra, Gorsh, Charmy, of course. I mean, Soul, yeah, if you need that tank, I guess. Yuno's not a bad option. He's just there for full brute force, and I feel like majority will have him juiced up already, right? Because he's one of the early characters that we get day one, and I'm sure people have probably worked on him, maybe duped him out. So he's an option. I'm not going to say he's not an option. He's an option. But that's kind of how things are working, where which character goes when it comes to setting up your phase 1 team and then set up your phase 2 team, of course. You can actually throw in William for phase 2, but I would say stick to Finral. If you have William, actually, you can stick him on phase 2, buffing up the attacking units, so that's optional right there. But that's kind of like the premise on how things are going to be working. So nuking characters on phase 2. So I mean, if you want to double up on the attackers to then have a tank or a healer to then a support attacking character, then you're more than welcome to go down that route. And then on phase 1, have Lotus. I can't stress it enough. Have Lotus. The speed reduction and the advantage he gives you is insane, to the point where you can actually breeze past stage 1. And then of course, if you have Mars, throw Mars in there, of course. And then when it comes to your attacking units, I would say stick with either a green attacker or a blue attacker, since phase 1 is a blue stage. Yeah, that's pretty much going to be the case on that one, because then you can use your red attackers for stage 2. So that's that. But that's the best I can do. That's the best I can help you guys out. I mean, of course, I'm free to play, so I'll be most definitely be recording my videos, and I'll see if I can get it done on part 4, because that's the one where you need to complete in order to get the dupe SSR shard in the 6 days that the event will be available.